Today it's my goal that hopefully you will pick up something and that the time you invest today will be worthwhile. So let's get started. 100 years of real estate. There have been 3 milestones in American civilization. Getting married, owning a home, and starting a family. And for many decades, it hasn't really changed. And it's always been in this order. So where are we today? The new 3 milestones. Get an iPhone. First coffee at Starbucks, which went up 30 cents this week. What in the world? Some of the coffee tax, 30 cents.
Wow.
Finding an unlimited data plan. The housing boom. Yeah, I'm fascinated about how much the world has changed just in the last 15 years. But housing boom in 2000 changed everything. In our current housing market, we have 4 generations of consumers. And we have the incredible opportunity to work with several generations. Why? Because of their purchasing power. Never before have so many generations had access to capital, to borrow. Like Eddie mentioned today, I didn't know about 2 VAs. You know, it is very accessible. And it's the first time in 100 years that this has happened. So what we're talking about today is you're prepared to serve 4 to 5 different generations. Customers, employees. Who here is born before 1924?
Mary.
Alan, don't stand up. But you have to understand, I've given this presentation at Rotary and Kiwanis, and we had every generation, actually Rotary, because they have around 300 members that attend every week, had one person born before, I think she was born in 1923.
Wow.
So had 5 generations. It's incredible. And that's what's interesting is it's not just in that room, but this is the same in company, in meetings, organizations. It's not just 1 or 2 generations that make up the entire membership, but it's at least 3 and almost always 4 generations. Think about a church, a club, you know, this office. How many people were born between 1946 and 1954? Okay, so got some old boomers. Hey, I didn't make this up. This is all from NAR. In fact, I think you'll understand that you boomers bifurcated yourself into 2 different categories.
Thank you.
Who was born between 55 and 64?
Woohoo!
Okay, so you got some young boomers. Generation X.
Oh.
And Generation Y. How many generations is that?
Got 4.
That's, well, if we count baby boomers as really 1, that's 3 generations.
Why do they have that split up? I don't like that old boomer business.
I will explain, Gail. The silent generation, they're born between 1925 and 45. What? Again, I've pulled these slides from NAR, and it's on the Realtor.org website. So these are little infographics I found. They're born during a crisis. They're all well educated. The members you probably recognize are Mick Jagger and the Beatles. They all want to buy a new home, and they've all placed priority on convenience to friends, family, and what?
Church.
Health facilities. They're close to hospitals, doctors' offices. Okay? Let's just talk about you as a collective group, okay?
Okay.
Y'all are responsible for the suburbs. That is 100% your fault. You need to accept that. You grew up in a time of dramatic change, and the most recent move made by boomers is 30 miles from previous residence. Has anybody moved in the last 2 years? Did you move 30 miles? Well, okay. So that's not just excluded to this generation. Generation X. So first, this is interesting, y'all. First generation of divorced parents. They earn less than their parents. The median age is 41. Median salary is $104,000, and they have their median purchase price is around $250,000. This is all stats from NAR. Generation Y, the millennials. Again, we're learning more and more about the millennials. Why? Because they're getting a little older, so they have more spending habits. And that's why you can't rule out millennials or categorize them in one specific box, because it's changing. They're growing up. Known as the trophy kids, Generation Me, first generation to grow up online. Looking for convenience to work. That is a main priority. The median age is 29, median salary is $76,000, and median purchase price is $190,000. So I'll post this, and I think I posted on my website if you want to pull these slides, because it's really interesting stuff. So home ownership rate fell to 63.4% at the end of the second quarter in 2015, marking the lowest homeownership rate since 1967. Apartment occupancy is 95%. It's one of the highest. This is from the U.S. Census Bureau. This slide sums up the current activity of all generations in our housing market. Now, we've known this for a while. Homeownership rate was at an all-time high. It's dropping. You see apartment complexes. If many of y'all are living in an apartment now, or you have clients, occupancy rate is through the roof. It's because of all these different generations trying to figure out what their next move is, what are their priorities. We've never had that many people in the market at the same time. But how good or bad the market gets, real estate is still the #1 topic of conversation everywhere we go. And that's why it's so important that y'all understand what's happening in the market so you can talk about it. Why is it still the #1 topic of conversation? Everybody needs a place to live.
Largest purchase you ever make.
Yep. What's affecting people is, where are my friends living? Are they nearby? How far is the commute to work to school? Cost of rent versus affordability. I read earlier this week there's only 2 metro markets where it's less expensive to rent than to own a home. Almost everywhere across the country it's more expensive to rent than to own a home. And walkability, that's becoming so popular now. Safety. Plus, we see this a lot in property management, I've got pets. Having pets in an apartment is not the easiest thing to do. I know a couple of y'all have pets in apartments. But that's becoming very, very common. So, why is this important? Why do you need to know this? Well, hopefully it'll help you identify new customers. We're using this to help attract and identify new employees. Maybe if some of y'all are hiring employees or wanting to expand your business. It keeps you relevant. This is not just happening in real estate. All of the economists, they all say that housing is the leading indicator to a recovering market. And that's why one of the reasons why the Fed is still not confident raising rates will help, because they're not sure that the housing market is 100% stable yet. Succession plans. We've talked before about delegating. Can you do all this that all these different generations want? How you communicate with them? Do you need somebody to help you with that? New market space. If we go back 20 years, I don't think many of us would take a phone call from a 25-year-old wanting to buy a house. A lot of the buyers, you would if you knew who they were, because they probably had some money to put down, but I don't think getting a loan would have been that easy for a 25-year-old 20 years ago. And they probably wouldn't have purchased anything. So maybe this will help you identify a new demographic to go after. Or at least help you understand why someone would want to move from the country to a city environment. I love this quote. Y'all know I'm a big Jerome fan. And he said, in America, we have the greatest chance for opportunity than anyone else in the past 6,500 years. Never in recorded history have so many different gifts been brought from all over the world and deposited in one country. Each generation is more diverse than the next, than the previous one. You know, I'm Generation X. Generation Y is more diverse. You know, just look at how they've been brought up. They're open to a lot. They're open to more things than my generation and my parents' generation. But have you heard about Generation Z? Anybody can guess what Generation Z is?
Your kids?
Yep. 1996, well, one of my children. 1996 to 2012. So, what do we know about them?
Totally iPhones and internet.
We don't know much yet. They're so young. But they're going to be the most diverse generation yet. And they're probably going to be the most internet savvy. Any of y'all have seen a 3 or 4-year-old pick up an iPhone and somehow lock the entire screen?
Yes.
And where'd all my apps go? They're all in a folder. I mean, I don't know how they do it.
Yep.
Good answer. So, we can't change the classification of our generations or the experiences that they've had and how they've affected them. Rarely does the previous generation understand the next. My grandfather didn't understand my dad, my uncle. He didn't understand me. Here, I don't understand what my kids are doing. The generation before does rarely understand the previous one, or sorry, the next one. That's just the way it is. That's the way we've been brought up. Maybe that's changing with Generation Z. But the only way you can use this information is by being interested and passionate about how you can connect with these different generations. And hopefully you've learned something today that will help you do that. Appreciate you all being here.
Thank you.